Welcome back to another story, where we uncover the darkest crimes and the mysteries that refuse to stay buried. Tonight's case is one of survival, fear, and justice delayed for decades. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe so you never miss these mysteries. Tell us in the comments what you think about the cases we cover, what you'd like to see in future videos, and share this story with anyone who would find it important. Now, let's begin. The valley lies in silence. The valley lies in silence. But it is not the silence of peace. It is the silence of dread. Towering cliffs rise like jagged teeth, shadowing deep canyons carved by ancient rivers. The winds whistle through the rock, carrying sounds that mimic voices, cries, and warnings. To the Dene people, who walked these lands long before outsiders arrived, this was no ordinary place. It was a haunted valley, a cursed land where spirits lingered and where death was inevitable for those who trespassed. They called it Nahanni Valley. The world would come to know it by another name: the Valley of Headless Men, the Forbidden Land. The Dene people spoke of Nahanni with fear. They told stories of glowing lights that danced across the sky, of monstrous beings that prowled the forests, of drums echoing in the distance though no human hand played them. This valley, they said, belonged to the spirits, and the spirits did not forgive intrusion. Legends whispered of an ancient race of giants, towering beings with immense strength who had once lived here. Others spoke of evil forces, guardians of the valley, who struck down anyone bold enough to cross its borders. So the Dene avoided it. They named the canyons with words heavy with warning: the Gate of Hell, the Valley of Death. They skirted its edges, never daring to venture inside. But when rumors of gold spread through the north, men came who cared little for legends. They came with maps, with greed, and with dreams. Few of them returned alive. The McLeod brothers, 1908. In 1908, Willie and Frank McLeod entered the valley with their eyes fixed on fortune. They were young, ambitious, and fearless, chasing a tale of a hidden gold-filled creek buried deep within Nahanni's heart. Their friends urged them not to go. The Dene pleaded with them to turn back, but the brothers pressed forward, vanishing into the wilderness. When winter came, silence followed. They did not return. Searchers braved the valley's icy grip, and what they found froze the north in fear. The McLeod brothers were discovered lying in the snow, their bodies stiff with cold, but their heads were gone, not taken by animals, not lost to accident, removed deliberately. The land that had once been merely mysterious now carried a name soaked in terror: the Valley of Headless Men. Martin Jorgenson, 1917. 9 years later, the valley claimed another. Martin Jorgenson, a prospector hardened by the wild, sought to succeed where the McLeods had failed. He built a cabin, fought through bitter winters, and wrote letters describing his determination to uncover gold. Then, without warning, his words ceased. When men rode into the valley to look for him, they found only ruins. His cabin had burned to ash. In the smoldering remains lay bones, Martin's, his skeleton blackened by fire. And like the McLeods before him, his skull was gone. The pattern was undeniable. The valley did not just kill, it decapitated. John O'Brien, 1945. Nearly 3 decades later, the Nahanni struck again. John O'Brien, another miner, ventured into the valley. He was experienced, prepared for cold and hardship. But when searchers stumbled upon his body, they found a scene of horror. He sat hunched in the snow, matches clutched tightly in his frozen hands, as though he had died in a desperate attempt to start a fire. His supplies lay near him. He should have survived, yet he hadn't, and once again, his head was missing. 3 men, 3 bodies, 3 heads taken. The name of the valley was no longer just a headline. It was a curse etched into history. The growing fear. As tales spread, Nahanni Valley became a place of both fascination and dread. Prospectors whispered about it in taverns, daring each other to venture in, though few truly had the courage. The gold that was said to glimmer in its rivers no longer seemed worth the price. The land itself seemed to resist intruders. The rivers boiled with violent rapids. The canyons swallowed sunlight whole. Sudden storms swept in without warning, burying men in snow. But none of those dangers explained the missing heads. Wolves tore at flesh, not bone. Bears mauled, but they did not carefully remove skulls. Something else was at work here. Theories. For over a century, speculation has circled the Valley of Headless Men. Murder for gold. Some believe greed fueled the bloodshed. Prospectors murdered rivals for their claims and stole their lives as well as their riches. But the valley never produced great gold finds, and no killers were ever identified. Why, then, the severed heads? Retribution. Others claim the Dene protected their sacred land by any means necessary. Yet their own legends show they too feared the valley. They avoided it. They spoke of spirits, not of human vengeance. Wild beasts. Could animals have claimed the heads? Wolves, wolverines, bears? But scavengers do not decapitate with precision, and the skulls were never found. Spirits and curses. The Dene warned of it long before outsiders died here. They spoke of spirits who guarded Nahanni, spirits who took the heads of those who defied them. Perhaps the valley itself, ancient and alive, demanded sacrifice. Cryptids. Some tell of creatures glimpsed in the trees, hulking shapes, eyes burning in the dark. Some say Sasquatch, others demons. Theories swirl of a beast that stalks intruders, taking their heads as trophies. The Living Valley. Even today, Nahanni National Park holds both beauty and terror. The cliffs are immense, the rivers untamed, the forests endless. Visitors come to marvel, but many leave with an unease they cannot explain. Some speak of cries in the night, others of the sense that unseen eyes follow them through the trees. The valley seems alive, ancient and untouchable, guarding its secrets as fiercely now as it did a century ago. Closing. The Valley of Headless Men is more than a place on a map. It is a wound carved into the wilderness, a riddle that refuses to be solved. Men entered with dreams of wealth and left only as bodies, stripped not just of life, but of identity. Decades have passed since the last headless corpse was found, but the legend remains. The silence of the valley is heavy, not with peace, but with warning. Nahanni waits. A valley that keeps its dead. A valley that remembers. A valley where men lose not only their lives, but their very heads. Thank you for staying with this story. Share in the comments what moved you most, what kind of cases you'd like to see in the future, and what you take away from these stories. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next case, and share this video to keep these voices remembered.